Hello, this is question 11 on your mixed exercise 1 from year 13. You have to express these as partial fractions. Remember, when we have a coefficient factor that goes squared, we will have two coming out of here. So one with the x squared and one without the square. Yeah, don't forget this because usually in the questions they tell you how it should look, but not always. So I'm going to work with the right expression. So I'm going to add the fractions so we can compare the numerators. So on the left side I have this one, and on the right side I have common denominator is this one. When I divide by x, I'm still going to get another x and this factor, and that's what is going to multiply the a. So I'm going to have ax and x plus 1. When I divide by x squared, so this one by x squared, I have the x plus 1, and that's what multiplies the b. So plus b x plus 1. And when I divide by this one, I will have x squared, and that's what multiplies c, plus c x squared. And now we can use substitution or comparing coefficients. But in this type of questions where I have one of the factors squared, we will need to use a combination of both. Or we use comparing coefficients from the beginning, or we need a combination of both. So using substitution only is not going to help to solve the whole question. So this numerator, and I'm going to show you in a minute why, must be equal to this one. Yeah, I'm going to start with substitution because I think it's the fastest. So I want to make or this bracket or this one equal to 0, so I can use x equals 0 because that makes this 0. When I substitute the x by 0 here, I got 0, 0, minus 2. So minus 2 on the left, and on the right, this is 0, and this one is 0 plus 1, 1 times b. So b, 1b, and then this one is 0. So we found that b is minus 2. That's the first one. The other thing that I can substitute is x by minus 1, because that will make this bracket 0. When x is minus 1, I have minus 1 squared times 7 is 7, minus 2 is 5, minus 2 is 3. So the left is going to be 3. The right, this bracket is 0, this bracket is 0, and this term is going to be minus 1 squared, which is 1 times c. So c is 3. I found very quickly c and b. But I don't have anything else to substitute to get any bracket 0, yeah? So it's x 0 or x minus 1. I don't have anything else. That means that we cannot use substitution to find the last one. We are going to use comparing coefficients. And which coefficient you compare is up to you. I think I'm going to compare the constant term, the independent term. So it's going to be equal on the left and on the right. And you have to use this that you already know. So on the left, my constant term is minus 2. On the right, when I expand these brackets, my constant term, this one is not going to have constant term because it's going to be x squared and x. So this one is not constant term. This one, when I expand this bracket, I have b as a constant term. And this one is not going to have constant term. So, okay. the only coefficient that we get is b, that we already know that is minus 2. So we cannot compare the independent term. We need to compare, for example, the x. Yeah, that could happen. So don't worry if that happens. That means the only coefficient multiplying the constant term is the b, and we have found it already. So we are not going to use the constant term. We are going to compare, for example, the x, yeah, or the x squared. If we compare the x squared, yeah, let's go to expand this bracket because you're going to see better. So I have 7x squared plus 2x minus 2 is going to be equal to ax squared plus ax, just expanding the first bracket, then expanding the second bracket is bx plus b, and then the second one. If we compare the x coefficients, on the left I have this one, on the right I have a plus b. And this is going to help me. If I have done this before, I would have noticed that the independent term is not going to help me. But in this case, 2 on the left is going to be equal to a plus b on the right. We know that b is minus 2, so a minus 2. which means A is going to be 2 minus 2, so 2 plus 2, which is 4. And that's how we find the third one. Yeah, you can use this method from the beginning and ignore the substitution. It's up to you. So you will have 3 simultaneous equations. You will say that 7 is equal to a squared plus c squared, and the minus 2 is equal to b. Yeah, so it's a bit up to you, or you do a mix, or you do just comparing coefficients, yeah, or equating coefficients. And that's all with this question.